Welcome back, everyone. So, thank you for tuning in once again. And I'm in the same setup as my last video. I quite enjoyed the visual setting. It was quite enjoyable. So, I thought let's keep this frame here. I'm looking down at my camera viewfinder, which, by the way, is on my phone. I didn't know there was so much technology available out there. So, we're enjoying the setup here today. And in fact, as I was talking about the fantasy tube, the sweat tube, whatever we're going to call it, the moss pole under a vase, glamorous term. We're going to talk about this one now today. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. This actually has been longer setting in our environment. So this was actually part of a Christmas present last year now. No. In fact, it was my birthday. Correction, it was my birthday, which is in August. So I want to take you through this today. I've got some clips, I think, stored on my phone or somewhere on my devices. So I'll put some in today so you can see the creation process. Now, let's just get straight into it. I'm not even going to hold back on diving in. So I'll move out the way a little bit. You might be able to see there is a reflection of the window. So I'll take you in there in a moment. This is an EXO Terra tool, I believe. EXO Terra tool. So it's a windowed vivarium, terrarium, whatever you want to do with it. I've actually made it into a paludarium. Now, what the hell is all these things? To my knowledge, paludarium is a mixture of where land meets water. So there is going to be a body of water within a paludarium. Vivarium is something that you leave dry. And a terrarium is something that can be like a mixture of moist land. So a little bit more wet, but not an actual body of water. That's to my knowledge. There's a whole load of explanations as to what these are. So paludarium, that's what I made this. Since I was a kid, I always fantasized. One of my youngest best friends had fire-bellied newts, and I was obsessed. He got his hands on them from pet shops at the time. They were in retail over here in the UK. And I really, really wanted them. But at the time we had budgies, frogs, a tortoise, rabbit. So we had lots of animals at the time. My parents were quite okay on the animal front. We had lots of animals growing up. So to add a whole nother tank to the situation, I don't think my dad was that keen, or my mum wasn't that keen actually. My dad would have been keen, but my mum was a little bit more funny with the animals. So nonetheless, I had fire-bellied toads when I was younger. They were fun, but they didn't give me that kind of cute newt thing that I just really love. I don't know why. Maybe I'm really into amphibians. I think I am. And so ever since I have known that they exist, I've wanted them. And now they've gone out of sale in the UK. They're banned from importing from China. That's probably where mainly they come from. And you can't get them. They're just nearby impossible. There I am on my birthday this year. I say last year, this year. And my partner surprised me basically with two tiny little ones, and I was so happy. I did not expect them coming. He said, you know, I was listening throughout the year for what you were talking about. I had no idea that I was talking about the newts that much to make it known that I really want them. So anyway, he found them from a breeder on Facebook. Actually a guy near to where we live, not too near, but you know, not hours away, which is amazing. So yes, I managed to stock this with two fire-bellied newts, Chinese. You can get the Japanese and the Chinese ones. I got the Chinese ones. The Chinese tend to have a little bit more smooth skin, and they exhibit redder bellies. So I'll put pictures and videos in the video now for you to see. And I wanted to create a really nice, amazing environment. I basically used landscaping foam, black, to create a custom background. It was an absolute ball ache. The whole creation process was just up and down. It was messy. I hated it at first. I kind of completed the thing and then I just really didn't like it, and it really took time to settle in. I had to just let go of my expectations and let it just be. So I created like a false bottom where the land mass was going to be raised, and I used this like pond material for filtration because it had a really nice bounce resistance for all the heavy stuff I was going to put on top. And I created levels, I stacked it, and then I laid over some mesh, like you would in a terrarium, to create your false bottom to protect all of your soil running through to the water. I laid mesh, then leaker, then bark, and then I made my substrate, and the substrate was really soil-free. There was a touch in there, but not much at all. Then I created the waterfall system in which I landscape foamed around the tubing, so it was kind of built into the foam. And in hindsight, I think I would have skipped making the waterfall. It really doesn't make that much of a difference to the whole experience. But it's nice to have every now and then. I do run it just to kind of get more flow through the water. So we've got this foam that kind of skims down onto the water, so there's a little bit of a meeting lip where the foam touches the water, and that's where I ideally planned in my head the newts were going to enter the water. So I created my stack level of land raised, I filled with water, added pebbles to the bottom. As you can see here, we've got some regular gravel, nothing special. And then I started planting, so I used variegated baby tears. I can't remember the Latin, but variegated baby tears. I collected moss just from around the local area, and I planted one of my jewel orchids, which is called a Goodyeara hispidica. And I remember that one because it had the little tag when I brought it, and it's done so well in there. I'm so pleased. So it's pretty much a humid environment, but the beauty is the newts do not need any heating, so the water can stay cold. I've stocked the tank as well with cleanup crew, so red cherry shrimp, 2 bamboo shrimp, and a host of pygmy corridoras, pygmy catfish. They stay really, really small, and they're so cute. I love them. I love everything in there. It's just, over time, this tank has got better and better and better, and it's just such a pleasure to watch. And for me to feed the newts, I love them to bits. I think they're the best. They're a really simple animal. They don't really do much. They're mainly nocturnal and they like to hide. So you're not really going to get an active creature that's going to be on display all the time. However, feeding them is an absolute joy. It's hilarious. They savagely attack earthworms, which is brilliant. So that's always fun to watch. And they chill. I sometimes forget they're even there. I let them do their thing. And they're hybrid of terrestrial and aquatic. So sometimes they'll go into the water and then they'll come out for a break. Some people say they live in the water mainly, but I think these are still a bit too young. Later on down the line, when I made the terrarium and the newts were settled, I kind of wanted more newts. So I went on Facebook and I managed to find the same person who sold my partner the newts that had a couple more. So you know what, I thought I'll just take them. So I've got 4 in there now, 4 newts and then a host of aquatic life. So all in all, I also have a carnivorous plant in there, a Sarracenia, so the one with the dewy droplets on the end to catch fungus gnats, because I've always had fungus gnats here. I have the sticky traps, I've used diametrous earth, trust me, I've tried everything, and not that it doesn't work, their numbers are very low, but when the transition of autumn to winter comes around, it seems like they explode. So I do have a unsightly sticky trap in there, but I'll take it out for the filming purposes, just so it looks really nice for you guys to enjoy. But that is in there just to help. You can probably see that, let me get my finger right there, that sticky thing there. That's the ugly fly trap, but I use it for function. I don't mind. I'd rather not have loads of flies in there, to be honest with you. Not that there is, but I'm just using it as a preventative. I don't really want to use chemicals in there either because of the newts. So, in terms of the water, I've got 1 filter here. Oh my god, the shrimp are going crazy for the filter today. I just cleaned the filter out, so they're obsessed with all the particles. I've got 1 filter running here, and I've got a air bubbler running in the back here, so I really want lots of good water movement. I know newts don't love water movement, so I've stuffed the outlet of the filter to make the flow a little bit weaker. So in terms of that, it's a little bit more attractive. The water portion of the tank is also heavily planted as well. So I've got Java mosses, I've got grasses, I can't remember the Latin of those, but you can get them in tissue culture. and they're all planted throughout. I've got lots of driftwood. I wanted to make the water rich in tannins, and that's what makes it softer in terms of pH. So the animals also really, or the creatures really appreciate the softer pH of the water. I also have Anubis growing really well, actually, which has been quite difficult for me in the past. And what else? I've just pebbles and things I've collected over time from maybe beaches, just to make it really aesthetically pleasing. What else is in there, I think? Oh, by the way, with the backdrop as well, with the foam backdrop, you'll see that it looks like it's got bark and cork and coir on it, which it does. I basically took aquarium sealant. Once I'd finished the foam portion, I carved in the shapes of rocks with a knife, and I aquarium sealed everything in terms of sticky adhesive. And then I applied everything. I just basically, in a bowl, mixed my bark, my coir, and some dry moss, mixed it and basically dusted the whole thing and waited for it to dry, and then I tipped all the excess out and it had stuck, which was just the best effect ever. There is still some of the grey foam showing through, but I wanted that in a way just to break it all up. I didn't want it to be purely brown on the back, because otherwise that would have been too much for me. You'll notice in there as well, there is carving for the waterfall. So you'll see the kind of ridge in which I sliced out a pathway for the water to run. And I did line a little bit of pond liner in that. That was so finicky. I did not enjoy doing that at all. But nonetheless, it was there to just prevent all of the water seeping into the foam background, because once it's cut, you've got the air bubbles, and I didn't want the water to sit in there and create stagnant water or dissolve the foam. Not that it would, because it's pretty water resistant, but you'll see anyway. In terms of watering, I don't water the bottom because the baby tears has grown so well with my Jungle Dawn light. Now, if you're following me on Instagram, which is Barber Gardens for my the plant page, Barber Yoga with a 0 for my business page, the plant Instagram, at the moment, I'm creating another greenhouse next door. That's a hush-hush secret for now. You'll see that in another video. I can't wait till that's done. But Jungle Dawn lights, you know I'm a fan. They are fantastic. These are strong, bright, and I haven't had any burning on any of the plants, especially the orchid. So it seems like they're doing a really good job. So that light has been on this tank since its inception. Like I said, I don't run any filtration, and the watering, as I was saying, only happens really when the moss looks dry on the backdrop. So probably today I'll give it a little bit of a water so it just revives and comes back to life. But for the most part, I let that dry out a little bit. I know moss kind of likes being moist, but I don't want to constantly water that tank all the time. Otherwise, then I don't want to run the risk of mold. But the beauty of these EXO Terras is at the front here, it's got ventilation. At the top, it's mesh ventilation. So you really, really get lots of airflow throughout this whole tank. And really, that's it. There's nothing else for me to say apart from just give you the grand tour. Obviously, you would have seen the clips in this, but I'm going to give you some of the sexy footage now, probably with some, like, you know, teasing music as well for you to enjoy. So that is fundamentally it, guys. Backdrop, creation, filtration, the water level, the land, the animals. That's really it. Lighting, feeding newts. I feed them twice a week, if that, maybe less. Especially in winter, they don't need as much. And I do give them big worms when they eat, so they enjoy that. Oh, there's also some Spanish moss hanging in there, Tilasandia version of moss. And that's really it, guys. That's basically everything about that. It's, like I said, pure joy, that thing. It runs silently at night time. I made sure I bought silence air stone, because I didn't want to hear that at night time. I can't actually sleep hearing fish tanks run. I used to have another Fluval Edge, the nano tank for betters, and yeah, I just couldn't do it. That deep hum in the background, when it disappears from your life, it's like a experience, and this, I don't have that problem. So yeah, I'm gonna get to filming quickly because all these shrimp are basically on the filter, and I want you to see this now because I've got a whole host of colors. I don't really care about keeping special types together in their own. I don't care if they all breed together. I just really want a nice bioactive atmosphere for everything to enjoy. So please enjoy this footage and thank you for watching. This is a bit short and sweet today, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoy. We've also got baby shrimp in there, by the way, as well, that have hatched over time, so everything's happy. One more thing. In terms of water change for this, I've noticed over time shrimp don't love big water changes, so I'll change probably about, that's probably about 20% of the water. I'll scoop it out with a pan, chuck that on my plants, which is liquid gold, and then I'll just top it up once again with a bit of tap water, obviously with my conditioner as well. So that literally is it. Let me film this now anyway before we lose any time. So from me to you, thank you for watching and have a lovely rest of week. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.